Welcome, fellow armchair generals. This is Gamer 1745 here with my continuing playthrough of Hearts of Iron 4 with the World Ablaze mod, and of course we're playing as Germany now. Uncharted Kath, I believe he is the lead developer for the mod. He posted below, very nice long post. I remember some of it. Not that I didn't read it, it just, my memory isn't the best to this. How are you on this lovely day? I'm doing pretty well. It's morning here, so it looks like a nice day to come. Okay, so now he advised, from what I remember, again, like I said, I did read, but not necessarily remembering all the details. Now, okay, and he said he might try to show up. I don't know if he's going to be available this time to help give hints, tips, suggestions, maybe argue for his viewpoints in the mod. This is an area that I have concern with. The unstable economy effect. Now, I've looked at the German economy reasonably closely from a, casual sort of sense. I know that's almost contradictory in terms. There's a few more books I want to read on it, that even Adam Toz's Wages of Destruction. I have it was really cheap. I bought a digital copy of the book recently, and I want to read it. I have not read that yet. But I've read quite a bit about Germany and the German economy. Oh, long term, like for all of the nations that were involved in World War II in any significant way, long term, the economic activities are, I would say, unstable as we understand economies. I don't know if you can have truly perpetual war without, I don't know, massively regressing to something sort of like Afghanistan, where you just sort of different tribal areas that are sort of constantly battling each other. So, and whether you are fighting a war or you are preparing for one, it's a costly venture. And so I'm still talking about this, and I hope, hey, people, I know everyone wants exciting playthroughs, but I think it's important to talk about these kinds of things, especially if a modder is putting this into the game. And so this is my concern. Now, I've been advised to go to more aggressive capabilities here, not to worry so much about the unstable economies, because, well, I guess there may have been some events for getting Austria, the solution, and later on for Czechoslovakia to counterbalance it. So we will jump to that, which will help production and such. I'm not saying it's wrong, because, in the short run, Keynesianism works. In the long, it's always damaging. But sometimes what it's trying to fix is less damaging than Keynesianism. I'm sort of just using that as a blanket term. And it's sort of priming the pump. It's the idea of government spending, basically, on things, kickstarts in an economy. And so, like, if you're building a bridge across the Rhine here, it's going to take trains, but it's going to be expensive to do. And none of the train companies say want to outlay all the money to do it. And the bankers are worried about how long it's going to take to be paid back. But the government just says, hey, we'll build a bridge. We'll spend the billions of dollars or Reichsmarks or whatever it is to build the fantabulous bridge across the sort of impossible thing. And whether we take out government bond, government secured bonds, or just simply print the money, you do that, and then you have economic activity of the trains zipping back and forth. It's sort of Keynesianism in that you prime the pump, but you've also built an essential infrastructure. But let's say you already have a bridge, but hey, your economy's flagging. You have a lot of unemployed. You have, steel factories that, don't have, they got the steel, no one wants to buy it because the economy's down. Well, sort of Keynesianism is, well, hey, build another bridge, prime that pump. All those people, the steel mills will crank out steel, which will employ their employees, they'll make money, they'll hire people to build a second bridge, it'll get that economy flowing. And that is sort of, this is turning into an economic talk, really didn't mean it, but it's sort of what happened when they dammed the Colorado River here. And with Boulder or Hoover Dam, it's sort of called both. And set that up here as a massive in the 1930s, right around now, maybe slightly before. I don't know the exact date on that, but it's still one of the biggest damming projects. One of the big dammest projects in the world. One of the biggest projects in the world. Yeah. And at that time, it was mainly pumping, because Vegas was very small, mostly pumping electricity to LA and San Diego and whatnot. And so, that was a very useful thing, but it did get a lot of people employed. Building the dam, all the intermediate steps, making the turbines to put in there for the hydroelectric power. There was a lot of stuff going on that really made the economy flow. Having the, just building it made the economy flow during the Depression. And then it providing a lot of electricity, capable of providing a lot more than it did at start, just because there wasn't a demand for it. Came in very, very useful once World War II, because California was one of the major aircraft producing areas in the United States. So, thank you, noisy car. Now, another Keynesian type thing happened was, it wasn't damaging to the U.S., but damaging to other countries, was the start of World War II and building all the arms. Now, in the U.S., it was simply a commercial action, and somebody was showing up with money and, hey, we want to buy guns or aircraft, and making them in the U.S. and selling them, excuse me, that kind of thing. And then, of course, all of the U.S. government spending itself, once it gets into the war, really gets economic activity in some ways going, but in some ways it's sort of, excuse me, just drinking a Coke here and hiccuping a bit. People working in tank factories aren't saving up money to buy cars because other people are working in truck factories instead of automobile factories. They convert them to truck factories or Jeep factories to use in the Army. So people were making good money but didn't have anything to spend it on. That's why one of the reasons they did all the buying bonds campaign. Yeah, to fund the war. Yeah, that's what they told people. And it was a way, instead of purely printing money, a way to fund the war. absolutely. But it also sucked the money out of the system. All these people that were earning good money bought bonds that would get paid off with interest, loans interest later on. And that was bad for the government because it meant it needed to tax the people. Again, they wanted to tax the people to suck the money out of the economy. But they kept taxing the people into the 1960s and beyond to pay for World War II. Now, so Keynesianism hurts America pretty badly, building all the arms for World War II and paying all the soldiers to go off and fight in wars instead of do something productive. But obviously, losing the war would be worse than any damage in Keynesian economics would have. Hey, Fazul, how you doing? Explaining economics here. It's the best way to keep people riveted to a video. Actually, probably the opposite. Probably I've lost most of the viewers. So, Keynesianism is bad and damaging, but what it's maybe trying to fix is worse than the damage of Keynesianism is. And so a lot of politicians like Keynesianism because they may not be around or don't plan on being around when the bill comes due. Don't say that, gamer. Well, I know it's sort of true. But, they're not going to, politicians may not be around, but also they're doing something today, so it's something they can control. Because if you just sort of leave things up to the free market, sort of be like Hoover, fix the economy but lose the election. And so by doing something, that's something the politicians can do. Spend government money. Oh, you think it's riveting? Well, very good, Toyjet. I'm glad you do. And so, so politicians, it's something they can do as opposed to going, hey, yeah, free market, it'll fix it. No, we're having a depression. No, free market, it'll fix it. And that fixed I forget the exact years, the 1920 depression in America that was really bad, really brief. Hoover and Coolidge, actually more Coolidge, I guess. Coolidge, yeah. Really bad depression, really brief, got through it, went through it. Things roared on in the roaring 20s. It was sort of really about the roaring economy in the 1920s. Another depression hits. Hoover sort of goes, let's do nothing. FDR, let's do something. FDR gets elected. It becomes a Great Depression because he does things that are bad. Oh, Marshall, keep it up, my man. Thank you. Thanks for the encouragement. I'm glad that some people like my talk. So, because we're all looking at this time period, the 1920s, which is the rise of Hitler, 1930s, latter part of rise of Hitler, the rise of Nazi Germany with Hitler in power. And so, but in America, we have certain forms of Keynesianism going on that prolong the depression and make it bad. Now, some of the policies I could maybe get behind. Soup kitchens, make sure people aren't starving, things like that can be helpful. And because I'm not a purist on any economic system, this is why I will always fail the, libertarian test, because libertarianism is a nice but very, very, very dangerous ideology. It's not an oppressive ideology like communism or fascism, but it's an ideology that really comes out of America when it sort of looks back at the 19th century. And you look at the 19th century of America, big oceans around it, the army out there fighting the Indians, sort of peacekeeping force. Mexico isn't any really big threat. Canada, the British Empire, they got plenty of things keeping them busy and really aren't going to attack. So yeah, in sort of a nice idyllic world, without any real threats, hey, libertarianism works. And, Ron Paul, stay out of the Middle East, stay out of the Middle East. Yeah, as the Middle East comes to us, or other areas that I value, say like the Western civilization. Now, that doesn't mean that I'm for constant intervention on a unlimited scale. I mean, it isn't a duopoly of ideas. It isn't, America retreat from the world and just defend our shores, or America must be in every conflict everywhere and be the policeman everywhere. That's sort of the, duopoly of thought. It's either this or that. Hey, there's middle grounds, and where, it's case by case for me. So yeah, and so this gets back to the mod. This concerns me because I don't know what the hell is this really. I can see the effect here, but we already know the time scale. We already know what can be done, what Germany can do, because we look at Albert Speer and what he does. Starting in 1942, he starts, really doesn't get really going, in my opinion, till 1943. And so we can see what Germany can do. And yeah, if you start in 1936 running the economy as a total war economy that we see in 43, 44, yeah, that's going to destroy Germany. But that's sort of kind of what, and whether we could argue, this isn't available yet. The war economy, I could argue it either way. Definitely partial mobilization would be a very doable thing for Germany at this time without this. And so to me, this is like a clock that's built in that if we were going to say, oh, well, we're going to sit at peace until 1942, building up Germany's army, building an air force and navy and all that stuff, that this would be more reasonable. But I think if we're having a 1939 to 1940 start date, then I think it's unnecessary. First leader, cautious, entry officer, career officer. Okay. I hate these colors. I just hate them with a burning passion. I don't know why. Oh, can't you just click? There we go. It's better. Couldn't you have gotten a color palette that was more conducive to World War II? Okay, so that is my concern now. So I'm, don't want to do things too much. All these the same templates, I guess. Yeah, it looks like it. Okay, well, we're going to be facing a Poland here. Let's draw a front line for the fun of it along here. Just for the fun of it now. Okay, I think we're going to build a few more steel mills. That was also in the nice advice given by the devs. That will help with the steel. I think we have the coal for some more aluminum smelters as well. So let's get that going. Now, okay. We have Anschluss. We need a bigger army for demanding Sudeten land. Yeah. 37, trying to look here. We don't need those. Alliance with Italy. Not quite yet. I'm going to go with the historical, do weapons. On track. We don't want to do anything else first. Well, that would be some nice. Adding a lot of productivity, replace with it. See, this here significantly increases Plan Z, big honking battleships. You just want pretty toys, don't you, Toy Jet? What would Germany do with big honking battleships other than get them sunk? Do we even have naval planning somewhere? Oh, I think it's over this way further. Now, I'm generally liking. That's Luftwaffe. Oh, here it is, naval effect. Do we have a specific plan Z? Okay, yes, we do have this here. Research. But no, we're not going to do this now. I take advice from the chat, but I'm not necessarily going to do what they say. And so this is jumping the expand domestic mining, which very much, along with some of like aluminum smelters and steel production, is very much what Hermann Goering Works, which added steel mills, right, was part of the 4-year plan was doing. So we'll do that. Anschluss of Austria. Now we need more heavy infantry equipment. We have a bunch more factories. Question Yugoslavia. Yeah, we'll put this. Oh, yes, we got to do that. Pause. Okay, Indian National Cars. Yes, yes, I said yes. Okay, come over here. I don't remember to do this. To me, this is a boring little thing you have to worry about clicking. No, I want to hear your thoughts, but see, I need a purpose for building the ships. What would we do? Yeah, somebody might listen to you with the ships. Because I'm just the type of person that would rather put my emphasis on the indirect approach. Okay, what we will do is if we get so far in this playthrough, we have the Scharnhorst and Gneisenau. And we have, although we don't use those old battleships, those probably wouldn't work very well. Guess we don't have in production. Just doing well. We'll use the Scharnhorst and Gneisenau to do a Panzer shift, as you're saying. Commerce raiders. We'll try that out. Okay, well, let's first look over at infantry, or ground warfare, I should say. Okay, now it looks like we've got this done. Can we come over here? Let's see. Elastic defense. Yeah, I think I would. Okay, we will research this now that we've got done with that. And we're still coming through this. We're over here. So, creeping barrage, nice World War One. Zeroing of artillery, unexpected thrust. I sort of like that. Removing firepower. So let's do this. Cannot possibly fail. I'm sure it couldn't possibly fail. Okay, that's expanding our domestic economy heavily. Okay. Okay, so we've done that. See nothing wrong with the plan. Yes, yes. But the question is what is your plan? Is your plan to have laureates, death battles out in the wastes, out on the track, out in the mid-Atlantic or something? Is that your plan, to gloriously be sunk in battle? Yeah, more or less. Okay, yeah, that would actually work. That's not necessarily my plan, but that would actually probably work. Okay, let's see. We have better submarine classes. That's nice. Yeah, I don't know if I want to try to research some of this other stuff here. Yeah. Let's do formation fighting. I sort of like that, but gotta have like cool naval battles results to look at. Yeah, you and Arno want to look at naval result battles. Okay, how are we doing for production still? Okay, we're making some headway, but not a whole lot on some of our key problem areas of artillery. Oh, what are we doing with Spain? We've been ignoring Spain, and hey, Spain has been going well while I've been away talking about other things. Yes, okay, so we have better fighters. Let's do that. Okay, where is our expedition? Of course, there it is. Okay, here we are. We have this area somewhat isolated. Let's drive to here. Don't know if we can get into Madrid from here, but hey. Hello, Sports Gamer 15. Not sure which virus, if you're talking COVID. Oh yeah, I'm personally very careful about that. Hey IKB, how you doing? We'll get to, I don't know that today, just various things have been up with me this last week. Not bad things, but just sort of unexpected stuff I've had to deal with. So I don't know when we'll get to more Railway Empire, but don't worry, we will get there at some point. Okay. Now, let's form the Waffen-SS. We'll do that. Okay, we got some more steel, aluminum to make sure that we can build aircraft. Hydropower. We need synthetic inactive. Okay, so we've got to do some more research. Make sure that we can get enough synthetic rubber. Okay, well, in the meantime, let's just build more arms factories. This is the Thick Cities Mice. This is World Ablaze mod, if what we are playing here now. I am far from like any sort of great economist, but I'm still, my mind is still back on the economies, even though we're fighting battles here. But I think I understand principles of economies. I'm just still stuck. Should there be such a caustic effect? I don't know. Just don't know. Oh, includes thick city. Maybe, because I have noticed that obviously this is a sort of super big city for Madrid, which I don't know how big it was. We see Berlin in two sections here. That I did notice that. Don't know. Paris, a little bit bigger than usual, so I did notice that, but I'm not sure. Companies, the way that if we're talking in this mod, I think they're all right because they're different than the standard, and that's fine, particularly in the idea that research, that we have a fixed historical tree, which I like. I get the idea of dynamic to go, hey, let's just say Germany, instead of having, because the two basic fighters, the 109 and the 190, are both, in essence, short-range fighters. The 109, I think, is the shorter of the two, and there's so many different models. Some of them had drop tanks. I'm not sure. I'm not an aircraft expert. This is, I believe, is a high-altitude fighter, particularly. So I'm just have general knowledge on this, and there's a whole lot more models than what is shown here. And so I get the idea of going, say, hey, what if Germany, is sort of, make something sort of like the 109, but I don't know, lengthen the hull a bit, or something to put in more fuel tanks, so you have a longer range fighter, So I get the sort of dynamic where the way they went with the base game. That's fine. And then, depending on what aircraft company you had selected when you designed it, it gets different traits, more maneuverable light fighters or something like that. I get all of that. It's not a bad idea, but I just sort of like the historical model better. That's sort of my personal preference. Well, thank you, Challenge Boys. I really do appreciate that. Okay, so we now have some more factories. I'm still just looking here at artillery. Well, we're getting close to artillery. We're getting close. I think it's... Let's do another... Well, let's while we can. Well, let me see about that. Okay, let's throw on... Yeah, I guess we're going to throw on another 5 once we get them what we're going to do here is we're going to go to plus to 1 to 1 to 1 to 1. So once these get done, we'll upgrade to newer boats. Now let's look at the tree for aircraft again. Okay. And okay. Like I say, I like the idea of having the historical models, or at least a good basis of them, a good selection. You don't need every model of the the Emile version of the 109 necessary on this type of a game. You just don't. Could be cool. Yeah, I'm not against, putting all the submodels in. But it just, eventually maybe gets too much to deal with. So good base model here, picking out different ones. And then I'm just trusting these guys that did this part well, because I'm not an expert to really try to judge. So I'm just, when we're talking this. Now, if we're going to start talking tanks or something else, I may get into a little bit more detail. So I like this. Now, what I also like is the idea, whether it's this or if we're looking at here, I might come along and go, okay, we're going to produce this once we get it, but we might, well, this is all the way until 41 is for the L model, though there might be some events or other things to push it. You might skip some of the intervenient models of tanks or aircraft and not put them into production. But let's go back and look at this again. Oh, no, wait. Okay, so we are in 38 now, beginning of 38. Do we want to jump to this? Or do we just want to keep, or do we want to wait till 39? I think we're going to do that. See, this is the thing. We're just going to keep producing large numbers. Hey, thanks for following. Do appreciate it. And yes, hello. Scappy 5? I don't know if that's the best way to play this. So here we go as primary fighter. We might do both. I don't know if we're going to do, we're going to, what I'm thinking of doing here is skipping production of the D1, and when we get starting of 39, just research this and then jumping past that. Things are going well. What do you think about? Okay, I've been watching. What do you think about? Not quite sure what you're asking me there, Sports Gamer 15. What do you think about the companies? Is that it? I thought I was already on that topic, but I sort of liked the way they were doing that. Okay. Yeah, let's go down back to Spain. Our little armored thrust here looks like it's about ready to make its push here. Let's come on, defend. Sort of energized nationalists to attack. I was hoping to be able to follow on while these guys were still disorganized, but it doesn't look like to be the case. Okay, good. So what we're going to do now is start a production line with the new model submarines as maybe some heavy fighters. That's a possibility. I like Germany's heavy two-engine, the sort of BF 110 line, but I don't like them as fighters. I like them as bomber interceptors. I think they work good in that role, as well as a ground attack aircraft as well. Okay, so they're now falling back. Oh. What does that look like? attacking across the river into the ocean. That doesn't seem like it's a good plan. No, let's stop that. Let's attack here with these guys. No, let's not. Let's come around this way. I'm trying to be smart. Get across the river. See if we can cut off this wing maybe here. Who knows? Gamer may be smart. Yo, there's massive changes from vanilla. So far I'm liking most of it. Of the changes. So far it's good. I have concerns, but so far it's good. And I hadn't heard of World Ablaze 2 weeks, before 2 weeks ago. Or a week and a half ago or something like that. And they've done a lot of work. I'm surprised that I hadn't heard about it before. Because I'm supposed to hear about everything. No, not really, but you know. Where type 3 class submarines, there we go. And uh-oh. Sorry about your Stellaris game. No problem about your English, just sometimes I need a little more specificity on the questions. Okay, 50 fighters to technical. Let's send them some fighters. Okay. We have okay, we have some command points. Let's see, we want to guerrilla fighter. I don't know if we want. Let's look back up here.
Ihre Befehle? Bereit. Achtung.
Nope, he won't. These guys don't look like they're ready to. I just wanted to spend some of the command points. I'm also thinking about doing here is adding heavy infantry weapon equipment. Yeah, we need more of that. We are getting more production in those terms. In heavy equipment. Hey, thanks for following. Do appreciate that. And I'm also live on YouTube as well as Twitch, just in case that is easier for you to watch. What decisions are coming up? Oh, we need to do that again to catch up with the British. That just seems like a pain. Balance arms exports, whatever. Okay. Yeah, that's fine if Spain doesn't join in. I just don't want Spain to be an enemy. I don't want it to be, you know, a Russian puppet. That's something I don't want it to be, so I sort of look at it as a preemptive training war that keeps... What's the YouTube? Certainly, just a sec. Let me just Alt-Tab over and I will post a link to the YouTube channel. Copy. There you go. So if you want to follow that link, you can subscribe over on YouTube. So watch live both places, and there's lots, of course, pre-recorded videos over on YouTube. What I want to do is come here and then cut off here and cut off all these units from Madrid. Oh, and we can add in another light tank, light artillery, production costs. That's what we're producing now. We're not producing any heavy, we're not producing any mediums, but we may get the points to switch over. So we're going to go to man for now. Reduce the cost of... Okay, everybody that's here live, just hang loose. We're going to keep playing this, but those watching later on YouTube, I want to thank you for watching. Thanks for liking the videos. If you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel. I love hearing from you, so please post questions, comments, suggestions. See you next time for more Hearts of Iron.